First Dimension was an underperforming cartoon in Japan. Second Dimension was a wildly popular genre-defining cultural milestone in the US until it was canceled. Over a decade later, it returned to pick up where the original story left off, but with a lot more depth. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the history of Voltron, the Third Dimension. Voltron, the Third Dimension is a fully computer-generated animated series that ran 26 episodes over 2 seasons from September of 1998 to February of 2000, and it may have lasted even longer if its destiny wasn't tied to Babylon 5. From days of long ago, from uncharted regions of the universe comes a legend, the legend of Voltron, a mighty robot loved by good, feared by evil. As Voltron's legend grew, peace settled across the galaxy. But then the evil Prince Lotor escaped from his prison in deep space. He formed a secret alliance with Hagar, mistress of dark magic, and together they summoned awesome forces of fear and destruction, threatening the universe with new horrible menaces. Voltron was needed once again. Now comes the story of a super force of space explorers, specially trained and sent by the highest echelon of the Galaxy Alliance to bring back Voltron. This is Voltron, the Third Dimension. Thank you to 80stees.com for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description below and use code TOYGALAXY to get 30% off your order today. What's the first thing that pops into your head when I say the 1980s or the 1990s? Don't think about it, just say it. 1, 2, 3, Rubik's Cube. Yes, they have that, or they had that, or they will have that. 80stees.com is constantly refreshing their inventory with officially licensed t-shirts featuring characters, quotes, and logos from cartoons, comics, TV shows, movies, wrestling, and music from the 1970s through the 2000s. So while I can't guarantee that everything you can think of will be in stock, I can guarantee that you'll always be surprised by the range of their selection. 80stees.com has something for everyone. Your favorite heroes like Batman, Spider-Man, Mega Man, Deadpool, and Wolverine. Voltron, both lion and vehicle. Star Wars, Stargate, old and older Battlestar Galactica. Motley Crue, Biz Markie, Pink Floyd, and Jimi Hendrix. Find the shirt that's right for you, the one that speaks to your interests, and lets the world know that there's no bigger fan of scratch and sniff stickers, Spam, or Kellogg's Fruit Loops than you. And you can prove it because you're wearing the shirt. Click the link below and use code TOYGALAXY for 30% off your order today. Again, that's code TOYGALAXY for 30% off your order. And thanks again to 80stees.com. Voltron, the Third Dimension is a sequel to the original 1984 series Voltron, Defender of the Universe, which was a huge hit. Ultimately canceled due to a very confused audience. Let me explain
real quick.
The 1984 animated series Voltron, Defender of the Universe was produced by a company called World Events Productions. Founded in 1980 to report on current goings-on or world events, they got into the animation business in 1983. Ted Koppler, founder of World Events Productions, licensed the rights to 3 Japanese animated series from Toei Animation: Beast King Go Lion, Armored Fleet Die Rugger 15, and Lightspeed Electroid Albegas. Go Lion was first to be adapted to US television as Voltron. Despite mediocre ratings in Japan, it tapped into the rising fervor for all things Japanese robot by kids in the US, and World Events had a hit on its hands. The lackluster performance in Japan meant that there was only 1 season and therefore only 52 episodes that could be adapted for the US audience. Once those aired, World Events needed a new strategy, which was fine because they had one. When Season 1 with Lion Voltron ended, Season 2 with Vehicle Voltron, adapted from Die Rugger 15, began. Voltron wasn't meant to be the name of a single robot in the US version. It was a series of robots that assembled or combined or Voltroned to protect the entire galaxy. Lion Voltron, technically Voltron 3, patrolled the far universe. Vehicle Voltron, or Voltron 1, the near universe, and Gladiator Voltron, Voltron 2, the area between those two, the middle parts of space. Not too close, not too far. The remnants of this plan are evident in all 3 Voltrons released by Matchbox, with corresponding Voltron 1, 2, or 3 names on the boxes. But it didn't play out that way on television because kids got a taste of lions, and all they wanted was more lions. For them, there was only one Voltron, Voltron 3, the lion one. When the television series switched over to Vehicle Voltron in Season 2, ratings began to go down. World Events immediately recognized their error and took the unprecedented step to commission Toei to produce 20 brand new episodes. Not of Go Lion, but of Voltron, the lion one. When the vehicle Voltron episodes were finished, World Events released the 20 brand new episodes of Lion Voltron and breathed a sigh of relief. The 3 Voltron plan was officially permanently abandoned when they released a new standalone made-for-TV movie called Voltron Fleet of Doom in 1986, which was a crossover of Lion Voltron and Vehicle Voltron, fulfilling the comprehensive intergalactic defense plan, but without the need for Voltron 2 in the middle. Time marched on, kids grew up, networks changed their priorities, and Voltron was left in the 80s with so many other cartoon, comic book, and action figure legends.
You sure about that?
As the internet took root in the 90s, it provided companies with unprecedented insight into what their target customers were interested in and what they were talking about. The generation that grew up with Voltron was talking about Voltron. In an era before on-demand media, collective reminiscence was the only option. In 1997, World Events Productions began testing the waters to see if that audience was ready for the return of Voltron. The Lion one. They put together packages for both cable and broadcast networks. The network package was a re-release of the 20 original episodes World Events had commissioned Toei to produce back in 1985, to compete in an environment where Transformers, Beast Wars, and Reboot were 2 of the most popular cutting-edge children's animated series. World Events added a computer-generated opening theme sequence and retitled the series The New Adventures of Voltron. Based on the response to that series on broadcast television and cable, World Events believed that the time was right to bring Voltron back for real, updated for the 90s and beyond, and they gave all the credit to those longtime fans who had kept the brand alive and in some cases helped them rebuild it for the future. Like Shannon Muir, who during the run of the original Voltron series in the 80s constructed a map of the Danubian galaxy based on references during the television series. World Events Productions engaged with fans like Muir to capitalize on some of the world building they had preserved in the decades since the series was canceled to ensure that those elements survived going forward. World Events partnered with veteran animation studio Mike Young Productions, fresh off their British television series Hot Rod Dogs and Cool Car Cats. Previously not on the list, but now that we know it starred Frank Welker as Benz, we're obligated to cover it at some point. Become a YouTube channel member today for $1 a month to get access to an exclusive monthly video. For April 2024, that exclusive video is the history of Youngblood, so click the join button below this video or click the link in the description to become a YouTube channel member today.
Voltron!
Power of the Lions!
Legendary Lions of Might! Unleash massive missile fire and blasting lion head attack! Power of the Lions! Lion Guardians of the Galaxy, ready to pounce! Power of the Lions!
Let's form Voltron!
Transforming powers of 5 Cyber Lions unite to create one invincible hero, Voltron, a colossal champion forged with the power of the Lions. Voltron Mighty Lion Force vehicles, lions and action figures each sold separately.
A third dimension refers to the style of animation for the new Voltron series. The original series was animated with traditional cell animation consisting of only 2 visual axes, the horizontal and the vertical. Computer-generated imagery was capable of producing a third dimension representing depth, images that looked 3D, so to speak. The movie Jurassic Park in 1993 was a milestone for computer-generated visual effects. It set a new standard for the degree of realism that could be achieved with the right budget and in the hands of talented artists that some would say hasn't been surpassed since. At the same time, cartoons like 1994's Reboot and 1996's Transformers Beast Wars, both made in Canada, proved that the technology was a viable means to produce a fully animated television series. Furthermore, audiences were on board with the use in shows across the board, from Xena to Power Rangers to Babylon 5. From 1993 to 1998, Babylon 5 helped reset expectations for long-form storytelling and visual effects in science fiction television. For the first 3 seasons, those pioneering visual effects were produced by a company called Foundation Imaging. In 1995, Babylon 5 executive producer Douglas Netter suggested to Babylon 5 creator J. Michael Straczynski that all the computer-generated visual effects could be done in-house if only anyone had a computer-generated visual effects company. And oh hey, Doug just happened to start a new company called Netter Digital Entertainment to do just that.
We've been doing Babylon 5, the effects for Babylon 5 for the last couple of years, and the methodology we used there we thought would be good to apply to a completely CG show. So we spent some time with Mike Young and Bill Schultz, and we were chosen to apply that methodology to Voltron.
After they proved themselves with a 13-episode series called Hypernauts released in 1996, Netter Digital took over all the CG effects for Babylon 5 from season 4 on. When Mike Young Productions began developing the new Voltron series, they wanted the cool CG look that had become the hallmark of Babylon 5, so it made sense to bring in the team that made the visual effects for Babylon 5. But it wasn't just about Netter's on-screen visuals, it was the efficiency of the process in creating them. Netter Digital were innovators in the production pipeline, and specifically with the integration of lightwave motion capture software, important given Voltron had far more character animation than Netter had previously done on Babylon 5. Netter's production process not only decreased the time it took to produce the visual effects, but also the amount of processing power and thereby the cost. It meant a fully CG television series could not only be made quickly and profitably, but for the first time ever, made in the US. World Events' commitment to consistency extended to some of the original cast and crew of the 1984 series. Story editor Mark Handler was brought back to write a new story that picks up 5 years after the original series ended. Neil Ross returned as Voltron leader Keith, Michael Bell was back as Lance, and BJ Ward as Princess Allura. New additions to the cast included Billy West as Pidge, Kevin Michael Richardson as Hunk, Clancy Brown as Igor, and Tim Curry as Prince Lotor. Season 1 spanned 17 episodes and won a Daytime Emmy for sound design. Season 2 added 9 more episodes, and if it seems like that was weirdly short, you are correct. But it wasn't Voltron's fault. Netter Digital was also handling the visual effects for the Babylon 5 spin-off series Crusade. What was intended to be a 5-season series like its predecessor ended up getting canceled before the first episode even aired. When Crusade went down in 1999, it took Netter Digital and Voltron with it. World Events Productions was one of the first companies to attempt to deal with marketing a legacy 80s brand to a new generation. They partnered with Trendmasters to produce a series of products that attempted to appeal to fans of the original series who were now adults, and a new generation of fans, kids just discovering Voltron for the first time. New action figures of the pilots and their stealth cycles, Voltrons that transformed, Voltrons that didn't transform, regular Voltrons, stealth Voltrons, and even re-releases of some older Voltrons. As of this video, Voltron: The Third Dimension is not officially available in full on any streaming service. Some episodes have been uploaded to the Retrobytes YouTube channel by someone. Voltron: The Third Dimension wasn't the last Voltron series. It was followed by Voltron Force in 2011, which continued the legacy of the 1984 series, and Voltron Legendary Defender, a complete reboot of the franchise that ran on Netflix from 2016 to 2018, starring AJ Locascio as Prince Lotor. All the while, talk of a live-action movie swirled in the background. We live here in the future and know that still hasn't happened. It has been doomed by red tape involved with the original licensing deal between World Events and Toei, as well as deals that were made in the decades that followed. Legal issues put any plans for a live-action film on hold, and production began on the previously mentioned Netflix series Legendary Defender, starring AJ Locascio as Prince Lotor, a reboot of the entire franchise that would help solidify World Events' claims to the subject material if a movie was ultimately made and happened to be based on the Netflix series as opposed to the original designs and concepts from Go Lion. It's no coincidence that all of this conversation around a live-action Voltron picked up momentum as the Transformers movies raked in billions, and Pacific Rim was also in theaters. All parties had every reason to somehow come together, united as a single entity to benefit all. Despite rumblings about a live-action film being in production as recently as March 2022, Voltron fans wait further still. It is totally possible that it could happen. It just might not happen in this dimension or the next. Fingers crossed for the third dimension. He worked in the title, that's the important part. That's all I'm ever trying to do. Thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy. Several different tiers to address your specific Secret Galaxy content needs. We have a new Secret Galaxy merch shop. Check that out at secretgalaxy.shop. All merchandise is physically in stock and ready to ship. Links to all of this in the description below, and let us know in the comments down below if you have ever even heard of Voltron: The Third Dimension before this video. I gotta be honest, I didn't even watch regular Voltron back in the day. My friends were really into it. They're not over here. But I must have been watching something else. I don't know how many times a week GoBots was airing, but I feel like I just wasn't paying attention to the TV listings and always ended up watching something that none of my friends were watching. Anyway, I know who Voltron is, and I can pick him out of a lineup if I needed to. The lion one, anyway. Cut.